YouTube, what's going on? It's your boy Cough. You're back with another video. Now, I look like crap. Okay, so let's not chirp me. I just woke up. Okay, I just woke up. It's fucking 10 o'clock. I just woke up. I have the day off. Cut me some slack. All right, but you're not here for my good looks. You're here to watch me react to like the 60, what is this? The 60 things only Fortnite OGs remember. I'm a Fortnite OG. Comment down below if you're a Fortnite OG before the video starts, and then after, see if you remember all 60. Am I in like a bad spot here? Maybe?
Days ago, but only players who played back then know it's actually been changed. Okay. So today, I wanted to put together a list of 60 things that you would only know if you're a Fortnite OG.
I'm a Fortnite OG. I'm the OGest, dude. Dude, I'm so OG that I was there watching Fortnite content during the burning of the Library of Alexandria.
Veterans will remember that you could sit in a shopping cart and shoot a minigun at the back and then go flying across the entire map.
I do remember this.
Speeds. Now, you might remember that, but what about number 2? Shield potions weren't always blue. If you're a real OG, you'd remember that in Fortnite Season 0, shield potions were actually gray rarity, and so were medkits.
Like, that doesn't, like... I don't know if I, like, remember that specifically, but, like... I don't know, that was, yeah.
It's also nerfed the big pot and are planning to change it in the near future, but I'll tell you about that later in the video. But I guarantee none of you remember number 3, the random compass around the minimap. In the first few weeks of Battle Royale, Epic actually had a second compass that was around the minimap.
What?
And it was a little bit redundant.
I did not know that.
They decided to just remove it. But now let's bring it back to a classic at number 4. A lot of you might remember the fish at Retail Row.
Of course.
The fish shops
Who
had
doesn't?
a fish sign outside, and if you stood in front of the fish and did a dance, the fish would actually dance with you and sing a little song. But something I kind of wish was back was the infinite range pumps. That's right. Back in the day, pumps had no fall off.
Yeah, I do remember that. And like, I was so bad at the game. I was so bad at the game back then that I didn't use the pump because it was harder to hit your shots than the attack. And it hit like that, and I didn't use it because I was that bad at the game.
Across the entire map, and the pump was basically a sniper rifle. Epic quickly removed this just like they did with the guided missile launcher. A lot of Chapter 1 OGs remember how much fun this weapon was. You could self-rocket ride with this thing, and then Epic decided to actually nerf it so it couldn't turn as fast. But real OGs remember how much
that was such a cool gun
before it got removed. And speaking of things,
such a cool gun.
We have to talk about the old start screen.
Oh, dude! No, this is peak, bro. This is peak. They gotta bring this shit back, man. This was so cool. I don't know why this was so cool, but it was. And then it's boom, no, or whatever the music was, man. Oh my god, peak,
and the
peak.
Vibe that it gave off was something truly special. You just had to be there to understand.
You had to be there,
feeling, just like the feeling we got when we saw these yellow pallets. When you saw them, you knew you were gonna get some quality materials, and there were so many memes that spawned from these pallets, like people posting pallets they saw in real life, talking about farming them. Honestly, this is
every time I see a pallet like that, I always think of Fortnite.
These pallets scream OG Fortnite.
And like, I don't know why they took those out. Like, why would you, like, some of the shit that Fortnite's taken out is just so stupid. Like, even like the pallets, like, there's just so many weird little random things. Like launch pads. Like, what do launch pads do wrong? Like, launch pads are great. They need to do a season where they go back to like OG guns. Just one season. And like, I don't want to play the actual, like, the whole game. The whole fucking game.
When it comes to this.
Oh, this is what I mean about dumb kids, bro. What the is wrong with y'all dumb kids?
Yeah, you could just shoot your own teammates, and thankfully Epic decided to remove it, but they added something a few seasons later that was really awesome. Back in Season 5, Epic added golf in Fortnite. With the new season, they added that golf emote, and you could just play golf in Lazy Links, and there was actually an animation that played when you got the ball in the hole, and OG players remember how much fun this was. And at number 11, we gotta talk about the old Storm in Fortnite. We know how it looks like today, but back then the Storm had a very unique look to it with this hexagon pattern that went across the screen. And honestly, I like how the old Storm looks compared to the current one. It would be really cool if they one day brought back the old Storm, even if it was just for a limited time.
I think I like the new Storm better now.
Back then, you couldn't see the Storm on the map or the mini map. You would just see the
I do remember that
where the next one is, which honestly looks very confusing looking back at this. And not just that, the white arrow that we know today was actually just a blue dot on the old minimap.
I did not know that.
Quality of life changes that have happened through the years that we just sometimes forget. But
yeah, and there's also like quality of life changes that make me want to shoot myself in the head with a gun. Not in game or in game. Sorry, in game. Like just some dumb fucking things that they've done too. So don't fucking give too much credit.
A lot of you haven't forgotten the red Christmas supply drops that happened during the first Winterfest.
Yeah.
Seeing these will remind any OG of season 2 when they also added the Christmas bushes, and you can't forget the classic Christmas lobby music that they played. Listening to this really
this is
me back
December
to the good
20.
old days.
Apparently you can go from 0 to a complete site in just a single prompt with Wix Harmony. I don't know if this is going to be possible. Where vibe coding meets...
And speaking of...
Was 2019 Chapter 2? No. Was it? No. Because 2017 it was like September. A year from then.
Did you know back then the bushes were actually in different locations depending on what platform you were? This would have been a huge issue if crossplay was a thing back then. But thankfully that was fixed. Just like they fixed the swing set in Retail Row.
I did know that, yeah.
If you played on it. People were using these swing sets to crash the server, so Epic decided to just ban anybody who was messing with them. And nowadays, you can drink a slap juice while moving.
Hot take, best season, like the best season I've played in so long is this season. Whatever season this was the best fucking season I've played in so long. Chapter 5, maybe Chapter 4. Best season.
A lot of people think this is pretty innovative, but what if I told you back when the Slurp first released, it actually had this feature, and Epic decided that was a little too powerful, so they removed that ability after only 3 days. But it took them a lot longer.
Coffee and Zins are just
the double pump. It was a hot topic for a very long time, and eventually they decided to nerf the double pump. Shortly after that, you could still use the pump
the pump tack
shotgun to run 2 shotguns.
Man, dude, I remember running Scar pump tack, and you thought you had it, bro.
Well, and now you really can only use 1 shotgun at a time. But they also nerfed llamas. When they came out, they gave you 500 wood, stone, and metal, but you could actually see them from the battle bus. And some players were so good, they can spot them before even hopping on the battle bus.
Yeah, that's insane.
But now at number 19, I'm going to give you one that's going to really challenge even the most OG players. Did you guys know that in one of their first updates to Battle Royale, they actually reduced fall damage? Right now, fall damage starts at 3 stories and increases until it becomes lethal at 6. But back then, you could take fall damage from any height. Even a short fall would give you a little bit of fall damage, and Epic thought this was a little too much. And speaking of too much, at number 20, the old vending machines used to take materials for payment.
Yeah,
and sometimes you'd have to spend 500.
This was like probably the best thing ever, because you could just be like, okay, gold scar, 500 wood, let's go, let's get it, let's get this gold scar. Like that, dude, that was so, and it was so balanced. Like this gold, you get like 2,000 gold a game, and you can just buy it. Like, this is the way to do it.
Wood, brick, or metal just for 1 gold item. That was bad, but not as bad as the bloom.
How is that bad? You get the best gun in the fucking game for 500 wood, bro. I mean, now obviously it's capped at 500, so maybe I don't know, but whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Just how bad the gunplay was. Bloom was so bad that players like Ninja and Tfue didn't even want to play the game because of how unsatisfying it was to use those weapons. Epic made a bunch of changes to how the weapons work to attract more players, and it worked, but the weapons were also just too powerful, because back then the gold scar used to do 97 headshot damage, and even a gray pump could 1-pump you.
Yeah, fair enough, though.
Sometimes it would only do 8 damage because the shotgun pellets were randomly spread out, and you could hit just 1 shotgun pellet, but nowadays the minimum
I remember
is
that.
3.
That shit was so annoying, bro.
Bloom and random pellets, the scoped AR was one of the best weapons in early Fortnite. It did insane damage from range and was extremely accurate. Epic even updated the goofy looking triangle reticle for a modern one that gave it even more accuracy.
What's wrong with the triangle reticle? I don't hate that reticle.
Some of you are still doing this to this day. Pro players back then, like Myth, were telling us not to break trees all the way because it gave away your position, and it actually did. There was a huge animation that happened.
I still do this,
tree, and it would easily give up your position. Nowadays, it's not a big deal, but some people to this day don't break trees all the way.
Dude, I still do this, and now that I think about it, yeah, I've never like noticed somebody because they broke a tree. Like, interesting.
And these days we get different battle bus music depending on what's going on in Fortnite, but back then we had the OG battle bus music, and it was magnificent. And at number 27, we actually have a myth that was pretty embarrassing. Back then, everybody thought that when you had your pickaxe out, you would run faster.
I remember
every streamer, every pro player would tell you that.
Thunderqueef?
But the reality was that wasn't true. I guess other games had similar mechanics, so we just assumed that running with your pickaxe would make you go faster. But Epic did decide to make us go slower while swinging our pickaxe by giving us a 20% speed nerf while swinging. That wasn't always the case. Just like Ninja's hair wasn't always blue. OGs remember that he dyed his hair pink when he reached 30,000 subscribers on Twitch. He did this to cosplay as Goku Black, but I guess the cosplay didn't include any of the muscles. I mean, look at this guy. But seriously, this was a huge moment for Fortnite OGs, because seeing one of our streamers reach a milestone like this with so many people watching was really the starting point for Fortnite to blow up on all platforms. And at number 29 in OG Fortnite, there was an interesting way.
Dude, there's a part of me that wishes that I was like, I can't even use my stream deck. There's a part of me that wishes that I was like this age now in OG Fortnite, but that means that I'd be like 40 right now. So it's like, yeah, in 2017, I kind of wish I was 22 so I could have like actually done some shit and like actually been good at the game and not 14 years old or 13 years old. But at the same time, then I'd be like fucking unk now. Like I'd be like 30. I'd be 32. Wow, Fortnite came out that long ago, dude. Wow, that's crazy. And I'm still playing this fucking dog ass game on a channel with 30 subscribers. What the fuck am I doing? Jesus, seriously, what am I doing? Holy fuck!
Controlled over items, you would pick them up. Epic added this as a feature now, but back then they thought it was so OP that they actually removed that glitch from being possible. Thankfully, something they haven't removed until now is rocket riding. Everyone thought Epic was going to remove it, but then they made a blog post saying that, hey, they think it's cool and they're just going to keep it as a feature, and they won over a lot of us when they said this. But they didn't really win our hearts over with the old inventory. I mean, just take a look at this. Why is there 2 different lines of guns? There's like 20 different stats on the weapons.
I do actually remember this
shit.
shit.
And ammo count are next to each other, and the whole screen is blocked so you literally can't see what's going on in the game. Thankfully, it's come a long way since then, but this was atrocious. Just like the reception to the smoke grenades, because they added this thinking people were going to use this tactically.
Bro, the smoke grenades are literally just those Flowberry Fizz things now. You throw those things down, and I died in a tournament because I throwed it down, and me and my duo were sitting in it, and we acting like Tommy, ran the opposite way of zone. That was some bullshit.
People were not using the smoke grenades, and you literally could not see when you were in the smoke grenade, so it was almost useless to use in the first place. I'm gonna say a line that will strike fear in every single OG Fortnite player's hearts. Search for 7 chests at Risky Reels. The most challenging quest ever added to the game, and only true veterans with enough skill could complete it. Everyone was going crazy over the new secret visitor skin.
I don't know why
this was the last challenge that you had to complete, and it was insane.
I don't know why this was so hard. Like, I don't know why. Like, I have no idea. That was crazy. That was a crazy ass time. Okay, please subscribe to me so I can afford YouTube Premium. Because I don't want, like, I love Brisk. I fuck with Brisk, but I don't. Like, that just looks like beer.
Bold flavors, bold refreshment. That's Brisk.
But close to Risky Reels, there was another POI that a lot of OGs grew to love, Tomato Town. But real OGs remember the secret tunnels that were near Tomato Town underneath the bridge. This entire area is just very nostalgic for me. And
Tomato Town's the worst
POI
in Fortnite history, though.
Random structures that were on
don't chat to me, Mike.
There were these structures that were made out of builds that could be edited by anybody.
Yes, these were cool.
Team. There was a llama near Junk Junction, a chair in the middle of the map, there was a fox, and even a castle made out of these build structures.
This was cool.
Speaking of structures, what about the ice cream truck in Dusty Divot that had 100,000 HP? Players were going crazy trying to break it because they could hear a chest in there and they thought maybe the chest had some legendary scar or something, but it was a regular chest. Some players were smart enough to realize you can break the ice cream truck instantly by throwing a porta-fort at it. But what about number 37? Fortnite banner borders. When you're spectating your teammates or if you press escape, you could actually see these Fortnite player borders, and they were based on your season level.
Wait.
We never noticed when they were gone, but this is one of the big things that reminds us of OG Fortnite. And
they took those out? Dude, I had like one of the OG ones. I remember, bro. I had like one of the I remember Muselk. Because Muselk had like the M, and it was like a creator one from Save the World. Like nobody had it, and he was like so pumped to have it. They took those out? You just took those away from me.
Next one is kind of a pain. Back then, when you broke the floor that a chest was on, the entire chest would break, including the items. You would get nothing. So only OG players remember when they updated this and we didn't have to worry about breaking our chests. Just like when they updated the trees, because back then you could not build near
Oh god, that was the worst.
There was a lot of places on the map that you couldn't build, including fences.
No, I can't place a wall because of the fence, man!
But the trees were the biggest offenders, getting you killed in the middle of a build fight. And it wasn't just trees. Players could not build on Loot Lake.
Sorry, my mom's texting me. Like I gotta text my mom back.
You could not build structures unless you built some type of bridge across. And if you got shot out, you were stuck in the water, moving slow, and became easy.
Yeah, like that's
Speaking
crazy.
of moving slow, there was a guy moving really slow around the OG map, and his name was Kevin the Cube.
Yeah.
Only OGs remember that he randomly spawned in the middle of a Fortnite skirmish tournament, and Ninja and Dr. Lupo were actually close enough to see this live.
Bro, is this an event? What just happened?
Honestly, looking back, this looks scripted as hell, but they were actually genuinely surprised. And we can't talk about the OG map
crazy,
without
man.
talking about the old factories.
God.
They were east of Salty Springs, and while they weren't a named POI, they were one of the most favorite drops for a lot of OG players. Rest in peace to the OG factories. We might as well say rest in peace to the current grenades because they really suck. But look
40
at
damage?
old weapons and grenades used to
Yeah, I
look
do
like
remember
when they
that.
were in your inventory. They were just silhouettes and icons, and honestly, this is crazy to see how far we've come. And that's not the only thing that changed visually. At number 44, we gotta talk about the little Roadrunner cartoon trail that happened every time you moved around.
I did not know
really
that.
Easy for people to spot you, and I honestly forgot when Epic even removed these. But something I will never forget is playing soccer in Pleasant Park. Epic added a soccer field.
Talk about like maybe the entire stadium they added for the World Cup in Chapter 1. Maybe talk about that instead. Like what?
And it actually worked. And players would sometimes just land in the soccer field, and instead of
Can you not do that
weapons or
anymore?
farming mats, would have a soccer match in the middle of the game. The community back then just really hit different. And something that was really different back then.
Now it's the most
were
toxic thing
traps.
ever.
And while they've been vaulted for a very long time, the old traps were a little confusing. There was a shock trap,
Yeah, I
there was
remember
a
those.
ceiling zapper,
Yeah, the ceiling
a wall
zapper.
dynamo, and
Yeah.
even a bouncer. And I'm not talking about
The
ones you
bouncers,
guys
dude. The
remember.
bouncers.
There was
The bouncers need to be back, dude. Even these bouncers were sick. The bouncers need to be back in the game, bro, for sure.
Directional bounce pad that would launch you in the direction you were going. Honestly, sometimes I really miss the traps and wish they would bring some of them back, but they really wouldn't work in zero build, so I kind of understand why they have it. But something I'm glad they
Zero
did
builds for
was
losers.
nerfing
Sorry.
the boogie bomb. When this thing was added, people had a ton of fun with it, but it lasted 10 seconds. It honestly took them a while to nerf them, and I abused a lot of defaults with the boogie bomb. I'm
What?
just gonna say
It's
I'm
still
sorry.
going.
And now at number 48, OG players remember that feeling when they first saw the comet in the sky and noticed it was getting bigger. And shortly after, we started getting hit with meteors in the middle
Oh, I
of the map,
remember
and
that. That was
these
dust.
were deadly. But now let's go.
That
for a
was
throwback.
crazy.
If you remember this quest, you're definitely an OG.
Oh
There was a
my
quest in
God.
Loot Lake where you had to dance with 3 other players at the disco. Everyone was nice back then, so it was easy to complete, but after we were done dancing, it was time to shoot. But not
I do remember
as deadly
that.
as number 50.
The Zaptron.
The most mythical item to ever come
Didn't
to
they bring this
Fortnite,
back?
the
Didn't they bring this back in OG for like no reason? Like I'm pretty sure they did, and it was just like good.
They
just
actually
like
released it for a few hours, and there's such little footage of it in action. I'm really surprised Epic has never tried to release it since then. And speaking of releasing things, the game changed dramatically when Epic released.
Dude, if they never
floating up in
like
the air in the
added
middle
playground
of the map,
mode, this
it was a
game
cool
would
way to
everybody
practice
still be
your
ass.
builds and aim. And speaking of something cool, you guys remember when Epic reduced the cost of V-Bucks? When they started their battle with Apple, they actually decided to reduce the cost of V-Bucks. As someone who buys every skin in the game, I'm really glad they did.
Did they put them back
speaking
up?
of skins, the most feared
John
skin
Wick.
in OG Fortnite has to be the John Wick skin.
Not that
If you
John
had
Wick.
wings, you were really in trouble. Speaking of
The Love Ranger was probably the most dog shit skin ever, but it had the wings, so I had to spend $20 on the fucking Love Ranger to get the wings.
In trouble when you ran into a default, but back in chapter 1, being a fake default was very popular. Thanks to Tfue starting the default army, there was a lot of defaults that were extremely sweaty and would catch you off guard. And all the OG players will remember the horror that took over the community when Scissors dropped the Scissors Death Run. Absolutely everybody was playing it, trying to complete it, and this thing was nearly impossible. It was the start of creative and the first big map that really popped off, and it was pretty much the foundation of what we know today as UEFN and Creative 2.0. And back then, Epic had an interesting
I also thought Creative 2.0 was going to be this unreal thing, and like the game was, you're going to start playing just creative instead of that. Never played a creative map where I'm just like, damn, this is good. Never.
Giving us extra battle pass levels. There was these loading screens with secret battle pass stars in them, and if you could solve the clue, you could find these battle stars on the map and get one free level.
Oh, really? Crazy.
At number 57, we have to talk about one of the most questionable things Epic added to the game. They thought it was a good idea to add this sound effect anytime you got a friend request.
Aw, you've got a friend request incoming. Someone wants to be friends.
Keep in mind,
I never got friends, so I did
not turn off friend requests, so this was going to be a problem. Thankfully, Epic fixed it pretty quickly. And at number 50,
oh, you got a friend.
About the old submachine.
Oh, dude,
I'm talking about
I used to
the
love this
really
thing for
old submachine gun that has
no
never
reason.
Came back to the game. It was a decent weapon with a lot of bloom and a big kick. But only OG players will remember this because it got replaced by the TAC SMG, which is now referred to as the OG SMG, but this one was actually the first one. And another thing only OG players will remember is that when minis first got added to the game, you could hold 10 of them. To 10 minis.
Yep.
Epic eventually nerfed this in Season 7, and it's something I predicted they would do when they first added it. And of course, now you can only carry 6.
Good.
And speaking of how many shields you can carry, we need to talk about something that I guarantee no one watching actually remembers.
And you can only hold 2
big
big
shield potion. It's never been changed in the 2,114 days since it's been out.
Okay.
Or has it? It's actually been changed twice, and it's going to change again very soon. So let's break this down. At first, you could carry 5 shield potions in one stack.
I did not know that. I know you can only hold 2.
Too much, so they nerfed it down to 2 shield potions, and then eventually bumped it back up to 3. Not only that, but they're actually planning to change the big pot again. You would drink only half the shield potion, go up to 100, and now have a big shield potion that has 25 shield remaining.
That is not
great quality of life.
They never did that. They never did that. They never did that. They never did that. Okay.
I'm sure in 5 years down the line, I'll be making a video about all the OG things people don't remember from 2023 in Fortnite.
2023, now it's 2026. That's 2 years away. Oh my god, bro. 5 years, okay. 5 years from now is, oh my god, bro. It's 2 years away. I'm gonna cry. Anyway, if you guys enjoyed, let me know down in the comments. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.